Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. This, of course, is the podcast that is made for top producers all across the country as we help you become a top producer in your desired market. We are powered locally here by Tampa Bay Real Producers in our local platform. And as many of you know, we have ongoing partners that support us in our local platform, and those are in all different industries, about 25 different industries across the Tampa Bay market. And one of those industries is the staging industry. Today we have one of our partners joining us on the show. That's Natasha Anderson with Stage to Sell Tampa Bay, among other brands as well, but Stage to Sell Tampa Bay. Good to have you here, Natasha.
Thanks for having me.
No doubt. Excited, proud to have you on the as part of the team here with the partners that we support real producers with. And we're going to start a little bit with your background for people who might not necessarily know your story.
Sure.
And how you got the business up and running and all that fun stuff. So, did you grow up in Tampa? If not, how'd you get here? And how did this become interesting to you?
Military brat, actually.
Okay.
MacDill Air Force Base was home for a long time.
Is that what brought you here?
Yeah, initially. Okay. And then we ended up in Alamogordo, New Mexico. Grew up there for a couple years. And then when my dad went to 20 years retirement, we came back to Florida. And Tampa had always been home. So we ended up here.
Nice. So you've been here for a little while now?
Since 6th grade.
Okay.
So
you call yourself a local yokel then, I take it?
Yeah, I'm a tampon, yeah.
There you go. There you go. And so obviously the business that you now are running is this Stage to Sell Tampa Bay. And so your background prior to starting your own company, what was that in?
It was in aviation, actually.
Okay.
I was a commercial airline pilot, and before that, corporate pilot.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different than staging, huh?
Yeah, very different, But when you're a female and you desire to have children, lifestyle changes, being on the road and out of a suitcase and not being able to take your baby with you, it really kind of changes everything.
Do you feel like you always had this itch for design? Is that something you've always felt like you were good at?
So I was always creative. I was always the one that was stealing the brown lunch bags out of the kitchen and making puppets. And I just remember as a little girl getting in trouble, where are the lunch bags? And then having to go to school with puppets. And I never touched the lunch bags again.
Okay.
So I've always been that creative type, always trying to reinvent things and, place things around the house. Just didn't know that I had that little desire to do it.
Sure. And so when year did you start your current business, Stage to Sell?
October of 2020.
Okay. So right in the middle of a pandemic, right?
Yeah, in the middle of the pandemic,
Perfect time to start a new business.
My personal life kind of went into chaos. My husband at the time left me and the 3 kids, and I had to figure things out. I couldn't return to flying. And so I started, brainstorming, what could I do? I met with a couple moms from the local school where my boys went to school. And I said, let's paint furniture. Let's pick up free furniture on Marketplace because everybody's redoing their houses because of COVID,
sure.
Right? And I quickly found out that I did not like painting furniture.
Okay.
So I pitched it to a couple of friends at school who actually flipped homes. And I said, hey, can I stage your house? And this was on a Thursday. And they gave me until Monday. And they said, yeah, go
Pressure's
ahead.
on.
Pressure's on. I had until Monday. And I realized really quickly, oh, crap, what did I just do? What did I just do? I didn't have any money. I'm a single mom to 3 little boys. What do? I started picking up free pieces off Marketplace.
Wow.
Painting them, which I didn't desire to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I staged this house, and this house sold for $160,000 over asking.
Very cool.
So
that's a great story.
I took that money from that staging, which was not very much money. It was a couple $1,000s, and I bought more pieces. And then I staged a home in Seminole Heights. That home.
Did you know right away that this was a business that you could build something with?
Well, I started researching a little bit more, and that's when I came across Christy Anderson with Dwell.
Well, yeah.
And I loved her story. She was a school principal, and she turned her business into $1 million business by renting furniture from a local furniture store, mom and pop store. And before you know it, they didn't have any furniture to sell or to rent.
Yep.
And so she turned it into a I'm not going to say multi-million at that time because it was definitely a 6-figure business. And I was very inspired by it. And I said, if she can do it, I can do it.
Have you met Christy?
I have.
Very cool. Are you guys friends now?
Yes. She's amazing.
Yeah, they actually were partners with Real Producers when we first launched in 2019. So I got to know Christy a little bit too. She does have a cool story, for sure.
A beautiful story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cancer survivor and just,
Yeah,
very
no
blessed.
doubt. And obviously, we're based here in South Tampa, so not that far from where their main headquarters are, right down the way here. So what was it like for you getting this business off the ground? I know you said your first job there was somebody who was flipping a home. So was that, did then the same guy come to you another time? Did you end up
Yeah.
doing things
Well, okay,
outside
so
of the
that
flipping world?
particular, yes, that husband and wife couple, they did come to us several times. I think we staged maybe 10 homes a year with them.
Okay.
It was just a couple. They were just doing their own little thing.
Yeah.
And we started advertising on Thumbtack.
Okay.
And if people use Thumbtack quite often, they don't
Sure.
realize that when you hit enter and send, the person on the other side is also being charged. So $30, $60, $90, whatever their rate is. They're paying to have you contact them. So when people ghost you, it hurts because that money departs to your checking account and you're kind of left with nothing. But we did a lot of Thumbtack and we gained a lot of headway, a lot of business that way with some realtors that weren't familiar with staging but wanted to dabble in it and had contacted some of these bigger companies and didn't really know that was the right fit for them. So we were given a lot of opportunities. I did a lot of consultations, a lot of talking.
To realtors? Okay.
And gained a lot of trust.
Like, how did that go? Was that at like different team meetings and like brokers' offices, or were you just focused on kind of building relationships with individual agents?
At that time, I didn't know how to get into a broker's office. It was COVID. Nobody was working at their office. They were all working from home. So I was just relying strictly on Thumbtack phone calls.
I gotcha.
I reached out to...
And you would have agents calling you through Thumbtack?
Yeah, quite a few, actually. Okay. And then I started getting online, going to Redfin, going to Zillow, looking at days on market, calling those agents and saying, hey, can I stage the home for you? And then offering them, let me stage it, you pay me at closing. And so I started that, and that was just a way of trying to get my foot in the door, you know? And a generous friend of mine loaned me $10,000 cash to go ahead and make some more purchases on Marketplace, because at that point, I think we had 7 homes staged. We were like,
tapped out, huh?
Yeah, we were working out of storage units and picking up free mattresses. And like, I know a lot of other staging companies were using tables and boxes to make beds. We wanted to do it right. So we tried to do what we could. Our biggest thing is we had heard rumors of people putting bed bugs in houses, termites in houses. So we really wanted to make sure that we were doing our fiduciary duty to our clients and making sure we picked up good products that were safe to put into homes.
Do you have your own warehouse now? Or
we do.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
And so how many homes at a time could you guys stage?
We have 42 homes out right now, and we could probably do another 15
Very cool.
without having to buy anything.
Very cool. Have you been maxed out like that before?
I try not to
There's
get
always
maxed
a way.
out.
There's always a way to not say no, right?
Yes. Actually, yes. So recently we just took a $5 million listing new build over in the Bel Air area, and they called me. I was on a ski trip with my boys a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they called me up and they said, this is our most important client and we need you to stage it for us. And I said, okay. I'd lost 7 homes in the hurricane.
Yeah.
7 homes worth of furniture. That's a lot. That's a
For
big
sure.
hit. And I was really nervous because it was a lot of my good furniture, and taking on a $5 million house.
Is your insurance on that for you as well, or no? Not really.
So my insurance covers me until I go into a home. And so when I go into a home, I rely on the homeowners having the insurance because that's a very gray area in the insurance industry.
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense. So you're kind of at the whim of that policy, that homeowner's policy.
My insurance covers my warehouse and my truck.
Right.
Once it goes into a home, contents insurance for the homeowner is supposed to cover it. It's a gray area.
That's a nightmare when you have 7 different ones you're trying to deal with at the same time.
Yeah, well, none of them had contents.
Gotcha. That's rough.
And half of them had fled.
Not fun. Not fun. So yeah, you don't think too much about like the impact that a storm like that has on. Obviously, the first thought is to the homeowner themselves, but especially with staging and all these other different components, it actually affects more people than you realize.
When I take on a homeowner, their family, it's not just the agent that I care for. I form a relationship with these people because here I am in their intimate spaces, in their homes. A lot of times we do occupied stages, so we're moving their things around. Half the time people don't live locally. They've moved on, they've left stuff behind, and we still show up to check up on things. Like they give us their passcodes. They have us like camera access. Like they trust us.
Yeah.
So when these storms hit, I was getting phone calls at 2:00 in the morning saying my cameras just went out. I can see the water level got up to about 3 feet on my front door. When can you get there?
Yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps right now. And As soon as the bridge is open, I would tell them, I'll get there.
Yeah.
As soon as the bridge is open. Well, we all know that the Barrier Island bridges were closed except for homeowners
Right.
or people who had leases. Well, my homeowners started putting leases together for me because they wanted me over the bridge.
Mm.
We have, what are there, 9 bridges? And you had to have a lease for each bridge access because, Indian Rocks shut everything down.
Yep.
They completely wouldn't understand, and you couldn't get through. Normally, the Barrier Island, you can connect to all of the beaches. You got stuck right at Indian Rocks, so you had to go back. I got to my first property, and I cleaned out 120 gallons of water. And I couldn't take anybody with me because I was the only person on the name lease, so I couldn't take help.
Mm.
And here I am bringing these, 12 by 15 area rugs that are wool, saturated in water, and pulling them out of the house.
It's brutal.
I have my drywall knife, and I'm cutting their drywall as I'm FaceTiming them. I need to cut this drywall because if we leave this water here, it's going to keep going up inside your wall.
Right.
Do you trust me? I trust you. Cut. Is what I was told.
Wow.
And that's what I did.
Are any of the houses repaired now?
They're finalizing repairs on a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
We're waiting on flooring and some appliances because we had to unplug appliances. When power comes back on, things are plugged in, fires start.
Right.
So it was, you learn really quickly
Yeah.
to become
I mean,
a
so
general contractor.
these are obviously people that were hoping to sell their home, right?
Yes.
They have this deal happen, so now they're in this delay period of hopefully getting the home remodeled so that they can just turn around and sell it again. I'm assuming is still the plan, right?
Well, a lot of times these people didn't have insurance, like what I was saying. So
Yeah.
when you have a monstrosity of a 7,000 square foot house and you're looking to redo the floors, you can't just put in cheap LVP.
Of course.
And so when your budget is looking at a little bit more expensive floors and you're having to come out of cash, now you're having to replace the furniture that you had in the house. Plus, if you're nice, you're offering to replace mine that was lost.
Yeah.
It becomes very expensive.
Right.
So some of these homes were in the several $100,000 out of pocket cash.
It's wild.
No insurance.
It's wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sad to say, and the whole concept that it's not kind of standard for the insurance to be able to include the contents there is a little bit mind blowing as well.
No.
Yeah, that's wild.
And I'm not the only staging company in
Sure.
the Tampa Bay area that lost furniture.
No, I can imagine.
Several did.
Is there anything that you think? I know we've talked before, even before the show, about your focus with short-term rentals, and so we're going to dig into that a little bit. But would you say that is kind of the niche that you've been digging into or serving that differentiates you from other staging companies out there, or is there something else that you feel like does?
I think what differentiates me is that I'm coast to coast now. We just finished an install up in Seattle.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's many staging companies that can say that they actually travel with their crew.
Which goes back to what we mentioned earlier, the rebrand possibly, right?
Yeah.
The Stage to Sell is going to be the brand nationally. Is that correct?
So Stage to Sell is the one locally, Stage to Sell Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
We've done Stage Design to help with the design work because we get a lot of people calling us and saying, hey, we want to do a love it or list it type situation. Can you come in and help us?
Okay.
And it's like, yes, we would love the opportunity. What are your dreams? Hey, I would like my ceilings to not be 8 feet anymore. Can you give me 10 feet ceiling, 10-foot ceilings? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times that's when we get into, multiple roof situations where, no, we can't give you the height. So it ends up being a list it, and we had one over here in Beach Park that we made the homeowners a little over $1 million.
Very cool.
So, that's
is that Stage to Design brand? Is that the national brand now?
Stage Design will still be local. Stop the Scroll is the national one.
Okay.
And we're also doing a setup school.
Is that still for staging? Stop the Scroll?
Yeah, we do staging, but it's primarily for the Airbnb type market.
Got it.
Short-term rental.
What was it about that short-term rental market that was attractive for you? And what do you like about that space?
I'm a very creative soul, and I love color.
Okay.
In home staging, you unfortunately can't do a lot of color. Mm-hmm. So
Is it fairly cookie cutter with how you go about the normal staging when someone reaches out to you?
It's very psychology driven.
Yeah.
So staging is just allowing people to see their things in your home. Mm-hmm. So we're taking apart everything that can personalize a home. So like photos, artwork that's a little bit, dated or very personal, your very personal taste. We're replacing it with a lot of white. I think I had one review one time. Somebody says she uses all white artwork. Okay, well, that's just to give the impression that you can actually put
Yeah, like a blank
something on
canvas,
that
right?
wall.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
you can create your own space with it.
Right.
So we neutralize it. So staging is to neutralize everything that's very personalized. With stopping the scroll, wanting people to spend money on renting your home, you want excitement.
Sure.
You don't want necessarily everything that you're going to go home to every day. Like you want green on a wall. You want red ceilings. You want something obnoxious like a gold leaf piano.
Yeah, it's almost really the exact opposite philosophy, right?
Yes.
Because your goal is to try to grab, like you said, stop the scroll. Let's grab
You're
that attention.
stopping the scroll. You're
Yeah.
grabbing the attention, and you are posting back to social media for those Instagram-worthy moments.
Makes sense.
Or your TikTok moments. Whatever it is that you do.
And what percentage of your business now, Natasha, is in that world, the short-term rental space versus your traditional staging?
I'd say about 80% of my business is in the short-term rental world.
It's that high now.
Yeah.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
And this has been happening for years now, or is this a newer focus?
No, we've been doing it since 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's since the beginning of the company, basically.
Yeah, we've gone a little bit more with the amenities that we're offering now. So
Yeah.
it's not just like putting in a pool table or a ping pong table. Like we're actually putting in full pickleball courts. We're giving you the basketball court. We're putting in the bocce ball. Shuffleboard is a hot trending thing now. So
Yeah.
shuffleboards are going into homes. Volleyball courts is another one. Like we're just bringing back the old and putting it back, encouraging people to get outside. Because I feel like today's world, like everybody's inside on technology. Like we're so focused on our technology.
Yeah.
Like
Provide the playscape for them to do out and stay active.
Get back outside. I'm not encouraging you to go spend more money. I'm saying I can give it all to you here in this house.
Right.
So
No, I love that. Like I was saying before the show too, like the event we did yesterday at that house, it was very much aligned with what you just described. Various things that were outside with the way it was formatted so that people can enjoy that time.
Yes.
But then they still had some sick designs built into the house as well with
Right.
the club
stage.
and
Add
the extra
club.
our arcade room that
Yeah.
they built out and whatnot.
Yeah.
There was like a really fancy bathroom even that they had that was all studded out.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
just various things like that,
Yeah.
you know. They had a pool table room as well.
We just did a bare bathroom that you can put your hand up inside the nose.
Very
Yeah.
neat.
I
Yeah,
mean,
all
just-
kinds of different
yeah.
stuff. And it's funny how if you're a creative soul, which it sounds like you are, it's really unlimited to like what you can create, especially if someone that you're working with gives you carte blanche. Yeah.
You can dream it. We can do it. Budget is where
Right.
we have to watch.
Is there a particular niche now that you feel like you serve more than other? Is it a lot of luxury? Is it more your normal 3-bedroom, 2-bath home? Is it both? Like what type of property do you usually deal with?
We do both. Like
Do
I
you?
have a specific group of clients that do 9+ bedroom homes.
Okay.
And then I've got a lot of people who just do 3 bedrooms who want me to try to get them 5 bedrooms.
Okay.
So I go in and I think I operate a little bit uniquely. I can walk in and I can feel the bones of the house. I can see through the walls. I can get the X-ray vision going, and I can dream up my vision, of what it is. Now, when I walk home for a consultation, I can tell you right away, this is a great opportunity for an Airbnb. Let's look into it and see if you can permit it here. Because a lot of times the design for a short-term rental is significantly different than if you're doing a home flip.
That makes sense.
So,
Yeah.
Sometimes if we
Are
just
most of your
educate
clients
ourselves-
investors then, Natasha? Is that who you're dealing with a lot of times?
I deal with a lot of investors, yeah.
Okay. And obviously realtors who work with investors. Is that a good niche for you?
I deal with both, actually. I'm trying to think, do I deal with a lot of realtors? Yes and no. I think when it comes to the short-term rental market, it's more homeowners.
Mm-hmm.
Clients, realtors who know that I do this will definitely call me and make the introduction.
Yep.
And they're excited about the process too, because then they can take the home from like when they sold it to the end product, and they feel like they're a part of that journey.
Yeah, for sure.
That storytelling.
Is there any sort of like, it seems like in your world, and correct me if I'm wrong, having some platform where you can kind of educate a little bit on the different types of designs you've done and why this one was so special versus that one, and just kind of showcasing your creativity, right?
Yeah.
Has there been ways that you've been able to do that successfully?
So yeah, what I do is I like to talk to the homeowners, and I don't necessarily like to hold people's hand, and I don't like them having to hold mine either. But I definitely want to do my due diligence for them. I want to make them proud of their property.
Sure.
And I want them to be excited about going there and taking their family there too. So I like to talk to them. What is it that you like? What are your favorite colors? What is something that you've always dreamed of? If you could take me back to your little childhood years, like what is something that really excited you? And I try to get those visions from them. I had one client who was obsessed with Pac-Man as a little boy. He's a 40-year-old man now.
Turned into a Pac-Man house, huh?
I gave him a Pac-Man game room, and it's an interactive wall.
Now he just wants to go hang out there and not even bother renting it.
He hasn't even been to the property yet. He's going in May, and he's so excited because he's seen the video and the pictures. But it's an interactive wall, so kids can actually push the buttons, the lighted buttons.
That's neat.
And make the Pac-Man go around the wall. It's
Very
just
cool.
A whole bunch of neon signs, black room with just Pac-Man all over it.
So something like that, from what I've dug in a little bit to some of the short-term rental strategies as well, because it's a space that I'm interested in from an investment standpoint.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's those types of unique things that you just described that really cause some of these properties to sell at a rate that's much different than your normal house.
So
right?
what we do a lot of research into it. There's a lot of backhand stuff that goes into it. So I have a team of people that I go, hey, okay, here is our home. Find me within a 3-mile radius, because obviously people are going to be looking at those certain areas.
Yeah.
Find me my competition. Find me my lowest price and find me my highest price.
Mm-hmm.
Because in comparables too.
Is that like using AirDNA or software like that?
So there's other platforms too other than AirDNA, but AirDNA is a great starting point for a lot of people. But yes, so you can go on there, or you can actually go to VRBO. You can go to Airbnb. You can actually see the data yourself. Just pull up within a certain mile radius, and you can see not all properties are going to come up because of bookings and being taken off for maintenance or whatever the case is. You know, but you can actually see, okay, we're running at $97 a night. Okay, but the high end one is running at $1,117 a night. Okay, what does that $1,000 a night property have?
Right.
What is my competition? And how do I top it so that if they added that, now we're neck and neck?
Right.
So what can I do? And I look at the design, and I'm trying to think like, okay, what's causing the stop the scroll there, and how are they getting their bookings?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm doing my research, and then I'm going back and I'm taking into account like, what did they tell me that they liked? And then I'm adding things to the ceiling. I'm adding the light fixtures. Something exciting, because women tend to get a little bit more excited than men when they're booking places. Men just see it as a bed to lay in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Women want to see, okay, that light fixture. I really want that light fixture at my house. I want to see it in person. Or, hey, that bed. I've been dying to see that bed in my own house. Okay, well, that bed's here. So come stay here. Come check it out. See
Yeah,
if
it's
you really
interesting.
like it.
A lot more in depth than you realize. You're right. From a man's perspective, we wouldn't think of that at all.
Yeah, or the chairs or the
Right.
couches, the dining room chairs, like something that women get really excited over
Yeah.
is what I'm going to put in these homes, because I want them to come check it out, try
Right.
it, and I'm also going to put it, an LTK page, and hey, you want to click it? Buy it. Let's do it.
So earlier when we were talking off camera, you mentioned how you don't do a ton on social media or have a website necessarily that showcases a lot of this stuff. But a lot of what you're describing to me right now is stuff that I feel like needs to be seen, right? It should somehow be packaged so that people can see your creativity at work. So how do you figure that out? Like, is there a way that you've been able to express that? I understand you can do that on a one-on-one conversation, as you were saying, when you meet with a homeowner.
So
But is there a way to still have that be your brand on a national level?
we're trying to get there. I don't have the support. I guess maybe my own childhood traumas have caused me to not necessarily not trust, but not just be able to rely on a lot of people. So
Yeah.
I've taken on a lot of it. So we all talk and joke about wearing multiple hats. I've worn those 17 hats for many years,
Right.
and it is exhausting. It
Yeah,
is burnout.
very much is. I can
But,
relate.
like I'm a single mom to 3 boys. It's hard to get on there and post anything on social media. Beyond that, I feel like my kids, it should be their choice if they ever want to post on social media. So I don't do any posting.
Yeah.
And that's just,
Well, even beyond like the personal content, which I
Yeah.
think I totally understand why there would be an element of a lot of people are uncomfortable with posting some private stuff about their families and kids
Right.
and this and that. But I'm just talking showcasing the creative work you've done on the
it's
business
hard
side.
to do, because at the end of the day, my phone is ringing. People are asking, hey, can you come here? And I'm
Yeah.
out in the field. I'm
hear
the
you.
person in the yoga pants, the tank top, tennis shoes, flip flops, whatever I'm dressed in that day, and always a ball cap.
Yeah.
And I'm working beside my crew.
You should have rocked the ball cap today. Would have been all
should've.
good.
You know what?
Yeah,
I will next
keep
time.
things
Yeah,
authentic
keep
here.
the energy in my head, But yeah, so getting it out, the best thing that anybody can do is give me a referral. That
Yeah.
tells me that I did a job. And
Is that where most of your business comes from today?
it's all referrals.
Is it? Very cool.
All referrals.
You mentioned earlier one of the distinguishing factors of your particular business is that it's national. I'm curious your thought on like what benefits do you think that brings, the fact that you do have a national presence as compared to maybe more of a localized staging company?
Well, mine has all been relationship building. So what I did was is I went to some of the bigger companies that actually sell nationwide, and they're not necessarily the ones who actually do the installation or meet the clients or the beginning. You know,
Okay.
they help people procure the items, or they come up with the design. It's all e-design at this point because people are just clicking accept, accept, and then we go to the installation period, and then I'm hands-on showing the client, okay, well, that look page looked beautiful. The design deck was stellar, but you got one wall in that design deck. What happened to the other three walls in this room? When you turn around, what's going on here? What story are you trying to tell? We need to do something. We need to add. And that's when I come into place because I'm able to upsell those items and the experience that they're looking to continue.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of went to the big dogs and let them bring me the clients. I don't take their clients from them. I work with them as an extension of their company.
Or like a
So
consultant role.
right. So I'm an extension of that company. I represent them through and through, and I want to do good, and that has served me well. I've
That
been
makes sense.
partners with a couple of big dogs for 4 years, and they call me for their VIP clients.
Yeah. And again, tapping into your creative genius there, which I think from hearing you and now that we've digging into this a little bit more, I think there's really a special trait there that you bring to the table that I think is very unique that most traditional staging companies probably don't really get it as in depth with, right?
No, mine is attention to the detail. Like yesterday during an install, actually it wasn't, the install was done. They went into photos yesterday and they were having the drone come out. They're flying the drone inside the property. And I said, you know what, it's a multi, it's a $5 million home. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It may not be a big deal to a lot of people, but it's a big deal to the builder. It is a big deal to the homeowner who built it. And I felt like I needed to be on site to make sure that one, my work was going to be photographed as a representation of my company. And two, anybody who stepped foot in that house also tracked in dirt. And I didn't want any of that to be on a drone or in a photograph. In the staging industry, we take a lot of our photos to reward shows, and we can say, oh, we won an award, and we can put that certificate on our website if we have one,
Right.
or say we won best in show or whatever it is, whatever award ceremony there is. And so we take pride in our photos. Well, we rely on the photographer lending us those photos back because that's intellectual property for them, even though it's our intellectual property when we come up with a design. There's a gray area there, so we don't own the photos unless we do our own. But it's important that
Do you have that in-house as well?
we have
Photography, videography, is that part of your offering or package?
we do work with a couple of local photographers and some national ones that we take with us. For us, we tend
But they're not employees of yours necessarily.
they're not employees.
right.
No,
You're
lifestyle,
contracting that work.
Yeah, we're contracting it out. But lifestyle photography is what we encourage because real estate photography just kind of gets the rooms. Well, we're also wanting to feature the waterworks. You spent a lot of money on that faucet.
Yeah.
Let's get a really close up because that's what you would see in a catalog for a waterworks catalog.
Yeah, there was a gorgeous
So-
waterfall in the cascading into the pool yesterday at the house that we were at. It was beautiful.
And unless that's photographed, nobody will ever understand the importance or the significance of how beautiful that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that. So when you're doing these national projects, are you the one flying all over the country
I
and
am.
meeting with these clients? So it's not like you have different people representing your brand in these markets. You're all over the place.
No, I'm on site
So
hands
you're,
on.
you're racking up. Well, I guess being an old pilot, you're kind of used to that life, huh?
It's funny because my crew's like, I am so stressed out. I'm like, it doesn't stress me out.
You probably
I
enjoy it.
airport appreciation time is what we call it.
You're racking up those miles.
And when I'm on the plane, like I know exactly what phase of flight we're in. I know what's going on up front. I know what just happened.
Yeah.
I can feel
What
it.
airline did you work for?
I flew for Delta.
You did.
Mhm.
Okay. Very cool.
Northwest prior to that.
You were with them for how long?
Since 2009.
Okay.
So I was there almost 10 years.
So what's their highest status? Is it Emerald or what's their diamond status with Delta now?
I don't even know. I definitely don't have it.
So it's not just a Delta flyer. You'll fly whatever brands you get your hands on.
I actually fly Allegiant a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Good
Allegiant
deals,
Airlines.
huh?
Yeah.
There you go. We're not plugging any specific airlines here, but I just
No,
figured.
but I mean, I can go from here to Asheville, get my Turo, because
Yeah.
I like to have fun in the different vehicles I drive.
Yeah.
And
Is there
just go-
any particular part of the country that you've done a lot of work with outside of Tampa Bay?
We do a lot of the Poconos, a
Okay.
lot of Asheville, and we do a lot of South Florida.
Cool.
So Cocoa
There you
Beach
go.
brings us over there quite a bit. Kissimmee is just, it's very Disney.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think people need
It's
to
funny too,
kinda-
when I had I had ownership of a solar company, and we used to have these like trips where we would have sales guys go out to certain areas, and we looked at Orlando County a lot for these different sales contests. And it was always that Kissimmee area where all the Airbnbs were packaged, right? You couldn't even find Airbnbs
Four Corners.
anywhere else in Orlando area, like the whole east side. Wasn't a single one available.
Four Corners built specifically for Airbnbs. Those
Right.
homes are built for short-term rentals.
Yeah.
Multiple, like 9+ bedroom homes, huge
Right.
kitchens. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the bringing in the Disney traffic from all over the world,
They
I guess, right?
absolutely are. Yes.
That's cool. Well, I'm glad that we can dig in a little bit to some of your expertise on the short-term space and the design element, because it really is a completely different, really the exact opposite business model from your traditional staging format, which, like you said, is
staging. Like, I'm going to come in and I'm going to tell you either we redo the floors, leave the floors,
Yeah.
or redo the light fixtures.
Yeah.
You know, women like jewelry. So redo your light fixtures, change the paint, clean your baseboards, but really make the approach to the house the most beautiful point. You know, the approach to the front door, because you've got one first impression.
Does your business too, Natasha, have like any element of just an interior design component where people would just hire you as an interior designer, whether you're not necessarily for short-term rentals, but
I'm
just
a design consultant because you have to go to school for interior design.
Okay.
But yes, we do that as well.
You do.
get
So that's
hired.
another offering. You'll work with homeowners who just want to remodel whatever to kind of change the look of the home.
Now, is it my favorite thing to do? No, because I like to have full creative control, and
Okay.
a lot of people don't like that.
Gotcha.
I do have several clients that say, "I trust you. I've seen what you've done. Just here's my look." They'll give me like 10 photos, and then I'll pull it together. And of course, the tears of joy when they walk in are just they're worth it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's cool. And that does take some serious trust for sure.
Oh, it's serious trust.
Yeah.
Serious trust.
Yeah, I respect
because
that.
if we have to sit there and we have to like knick-knack over a light bulb, I mean, go
Right.
change the light
This is a waste of time.
bulb. Yeah, like
Let me do my thing.
show me your light fixtures that you're really in love with. Give me a budget because I'm really good at staying in your budget.
Yeah,
And I'm a pretty good shopper, so
that's cool. So what gets you excited as you think about the business moving forward, the rest of this year, going into even 2026? Is there anything you're working towards? You have a vision that you're laying out for where you see it going?
oh yeah. I mean, I really love what I do. I love the traveling aspect. My kids, they come with me sometimes,
That's cool.
and they get super excited. Like, Mom, what are you going to do at this house?
Yeah.
And
You said your boys are how old again?
it's 8, 11, and almost 14.
8, 11, 14. They get to
Um,
travel with you a lot?
Not a whole lot, but they're
Yeah.
starting to. My 11-year-old had a brain bleed this last year.
Oh, wow.
So it was pretty traumatic, and
Wow.
he had his surgery in December right after Christmas.
Oh, is he
but
doing well?
He's doing well.
God bless.
The only thing I can say is advocate for your children.
Yeah.
When I took my son to the doctor, we walked into the emergency room, and I did 3 days in a row to the emergency room, and the doctors told me, your son has a headache. You're under medicating him. Take him home.
Mm.
And I kept saying, there's something wrong with my son.
Mm.
There's something wrong with my son. Day 3, I took him back, and I pulled the doctor out into the hallway because I wanted to speak with her nicely. And I cried to her, and I said, please, there's something wrong with my son. And at that point, she says, unnecessary radiation is what I think you're asking for. Turned around, walked away, closed the door in my face, called the police on me, called psych on me,
Wow.
and wheeled my son off in a wheelchair and told me I could not be in the room with him while they did his scan.
So they
halfway-
did the scan anyway.
Halfway through the scan, they come out, the radiologist who was there, because now this is a big deal. I've made him stink 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
Comes out and she says, your son has a massive brain bleed.
Wow.
She said, what happened to his head? And I said, nothing. She says, there's been no traumatic event. He hasn't been hit. He didn't fall. I said, no, he's just been complaining of a headache. And you guys are telling me that I'm under medicating him. And she says, we're transferring him. She says, if there wasn't a storm right outside right now, he'd be in a helicopter. He's critical.
Wow.
And they took him off. He was met with a team of doctors. They kept him for 6 days, and they could not tell me why my son had a brain bleed. It's taken several months, and they came back and they said it was an AVM, which is just a malformation of the vein, and he was born that way. He's clotted it himself his whole life, and something knocked it loose.
Wow.
So
That's crazy.
When your children complain
Powerful
of
story.
headaches, Listen to them, because children aren't
Go with your
supposed to
guts,
have-
moms. Go with
Yeah.
your guts out there.
Children are not supposed to have headaches. So if they're telling you something's wrong, listen to them.
Totally.
Listen.
Good advice. Wow, powerful story, Natasha. I have 6 kids, so that hits home for sure. And it's funny, too, because in some ways they're always complaining about something. But a lot of times it's little things.
They all complain. Don't get me wrong. But when your child's laying
a couple days in a row with like
the shower floor, because the only thing that's helping their headache is the water and the pressure.
That's not good.
Something's telling you something's wrong.
For sure.
Something's wrong.
That's not just a Tylenol situation. There's got to be something.
Not a Tylenol.
Yeah.
And by the way, if nobody knew this, Tylenol doesn't go by just the weight or the age on the back. Like, you have to kind of decipher between the two, believe it or not, is what they told me. So
wow. Crazy story. Thank you for sharing, though.
Yeah.
Hopefully that is a lesson that some parents can take out there, that doctors aren't always right.
No, and we don't have to be a hypochondriac. That's not what I'm encouraging.
Sure.
Here. But listen to your child. If they're complaining about something, maybe ask them other questions, because sometimes they can't put into words what we're really feeling. Ask them, like, does it feel like this? Or maybe use food. Because food always, kids are familiar with food. Does it feel like corn crunching? Does it feel like, a banana peel? Like, what does it feel like?
Yeah, it's good advice. I think one of the big challenges that kids have, especially when you're dealing with doctors or people they don't know, is just them being uncomfortable communicating to strangers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or even knowing, like you said, how to communicate how they're feeling.
Well, child is shy. They asked my
sure.
child, like, how bad is your headache? And he'd say 3. On a scale of 1 to 10, like, 10 is bad.
Yeah.
And you're telling me it's a 3? And I would look at him and say, no, he's probably like an 8. He's just scared to tell you that. Because he's scared of being poked with needles.
Sure. What kid isn't, right?
Yeah,
good advice. And since we're talking about some personal stuff, just to continue down that road, so tell me a little bit about, like, what do you guys love to do for fun when you get a chance to hang out with the kids, and what keeps you busy when you're not jamming at work?
My kids are baseball players, hardcore baseball players. So I got one that's getting ready to go into high school. He's a catcher.
Nice. Where do you guys play? What town?
Hitter, Lutz. We're up in Lutz.
Is it the town league or travel or?
So he did travel ball. He did play league ball.
Okay.
But he's in travel ball. And I think right now he's starting to focus on just trying to make the high school team. He wants to go to Steinbrenner next year.
That's cool.
So hopefully, fingers crossed that he makes his team. I'd always had high hopes for him going to Jesuit, go Tigers, but he.
Is that where you went?
Well, Jesuit's all boys school. So
no. Okay. So no.
I went to Tampa Catholic.
Okay.
I am and Most Holy Redeemer before that, which no longer exists now.
Gotcha.
For any of the local Tampa.
We live up in Land O'Lakes, but my boys are really into baseball too. They've been playing at Land O'Lakes Little League for the last few years, and my oldest son was just invited to try out for a travel team.
Okay.
Which is going to be, I think, next Friday, the 11th, I believe.
Travel ball's big.
I know it's a big commitment, so my wife and I are a little bit hesitant about it, but he loves it, and if he wants to do it, I've encouraged him to play other sports too, but he doesn't seem to want to do anything else other than play baseball. He really likes baseball. So.
You know what? If they live, eat, and breathe it,
that's right. Just encourage it, right?
Yeah,
and I'm a big baseball nut, so I think he gets a lot of it from me. I'm a huge baseball fan, so.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I get to participate as an assistant coach, pretend like I'm helping out. So it's all good times. Yeah.
See, I was always a tennis player, so I've always said, "Do you want to play tennis?" Like, no, that doesn't sound like fun. So they're the baseball. I'll go out and hit with them.
That'll keep you busy right there. All 3 of them play?
They do.
Nice.
We live on a golf course, so we just get the bats and we just throw and we run, and we'll do like baseball, kickball. Like, we're always inventing like new games. It's kind of fun.
That's neat.
We got a lot of grass space out there. It's cut nicely. And we just go out and enjoy it at night. So
that's cool. Yeah. Probably have some interior design elements of that home too that you're living in, huh?
Oh no.
No, it's pretty boilerplate.
It's so funny. My boys say, "Mom, you make everybody's home look so beautiful." But when we come home,
why not ours, Mom?
What happened to ours, Mom? It's a storage unit, Mom. Like, what are you doing? I say, you know what? I come home from work and I want to be with you guys. So my car gets emptied into the house. I'm sorry that happens, but that's what happens.
That's funny.
So.
A couple rapid fire questions as we put a bow here on the episode. But do you have a favorite book or author or seminar that you've ever gone to that you feel like has made an impact on you personally or professionally?
I'm into furniture catalogs right now.
Okay.
There's tons of good books out there, but right now it's kind of where my life is.
That's where your reading lifestyle is, huh?
It's just the excitement. I do lots of podcasts. I'm actually a big music person.
Nice.
So I listen to a lot of...
Do you have a favorite podcast?
Not really. I kind of go all over the map.
Okay.
I'll go from one thing to another, but my favorite musical artist is NF.
NF.
NF, yeah.
Okay.
Religious rap.
Gotcha.
A little bit of.
I've never heard it. Have you? You've heard NF? Pretty popular, pretty big. I'm completely lost in that world.
It sounds like Eminem.
Oh, really?
But
he's got a Christian background or a religious background.
Yeah, Christian music.
Interesting.
Speaks of his whole rough childhood, and not that I had a rough childhood. I had an amazing childhood, but I'm learning as in my 40s. I'm 29. That people go through childhood traumas, and they're coming about in 40s instead of 50s or later on in life. And so healing all of those inner childhood traumas, whichever route you decide to go down.
Yeah.
That's what I learn a lot from other people by listening to music.
I can relate to that. I think we all do at times. There's certain elements of songs that just hit you in a certain way because of your backstory, or it depends even emotionally where you might be at in that moment when you hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no doubt. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Words of encouragement, positivity,
For sure.
Good vibes.
Absolutely.
I'm always into that kind of
so
stuff.
NF, we recommend it. Check it out.
NF, he's great.
Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
I'm Top Gun all the way.
Are you?
Yeah.
Top Gun gal. Yeah, that's right.
I'm
Iceman or Maverick?
Iceman, rest in peace.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
That was just recent.
My white German Shepherd was called Iceman because I was.
Is that right?
Obsessed with
So you were a big
Top Gun.
fan.
Yes, not necessarily Maverick. Maverick
So
was
this
the
was
best
a big
pilot,
loss for you this week, huh?
I didn't find out until late last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he passed. Was it 3 or 4 days ago? I think I saw, right?
Val Kilmer.
He was one of the best Batmans, that's for sure.
Oh, he was amazing.
Did a good job.
He was amazing.
Well, I guess Michael Keaton was the first one, wasn't he? And then was Val the second Batman? I think that was the way we were set. Yeah.
I have TVs in my house. I don't turn them on. No. And I put TVs in everybody's houses, and I don't.
All right, my last question for you, and we call this the legacy question. So when that day hopefully comes many, many years from now, Natasha, and you're sitting on your rocking chair and you're thinking back to what your legacy, right, and what you'd want to be most remembered for, what comes to mind? What are some important things that you think you would want to be most remembered for, personally or professionally?
That I was trustworthy, that I was dedicated, hardworking, and extremely reliable.
Cool. All great stuff. Yeah. And I think with the amount of business that you're doing with your loyal clients, there must be some truth to some of those things right now, or else people wouldn't be doing as much work with you.
Consistency is what I like. That's the one thing I keep hearing from my clients is that you are consistent with everything you do.
That's very important.
And I hear
well, it's great to have you here.
I'm your new best friend now.
I'm glad that we were able to get you in here to the studio, even though it was hard to find for you at first. I'm glad.
My goodness.
I'm glad we worked it out.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm glad that we were able to get you on. And if you're an agent out there, if somebody wants to reach out to you just to pick your brain about the staging business, about the short-term rental, about the design side, about the national exposure, what I love about talking to Tasha, especially on a business world, is, like I said, she's someone who can help serve your clients all over the country, right? It's not just to the Tampa Bay market alone. What's the best way for someone to reach you?
Text me, call me, 813-784-3389. I love talking to you. And, I've actually started toying with a new idea of agents who like to stage. We toyfully call them stagents.
Stagents. I love that.
If you are interested in being a stagent.
Creating your own little niche there. Big fan.
I would love to
Are you a stagent? Boom.
Listen, if you're a stagent, I've got furniture for you. I'll rent you the furniture, and I will teach you how to stage your homes.
That's cool.
So
how you doing those classes? Online, or you doing them in person?
Let's do them in person.
I like it.
I don't have it planned yet, but I'm kind of rolling with it right here, right now.
Yeah, very cool. I like it.
I'm serious. I will.
Oh, I love the idea. I think it's great. And there are agents that we've interviewed around this show who love doing that, who it's kind of like part of their offering, part of their value proposition.
I like to do what we call vignette staging. It's not the same thing that we all do.
I love that.
And it's kind of funny because a lot of photographers will give me a call and say, I was in your home today. I said, how did you know? Because I don't leave any traffic behind. I used to leave my business cards and maybe a frame. I don't do that anymore. And I'm like, how could you tell? And they're like, just because
they know the brand
that you bring and the textures and the amount of detail that you have. White artwork. The white artwork, yes.
Like I said, I got to show you when we get off here, but the house last night was just all white, so it would resonate with you.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna put a bow on the episode, and we always end with a call to action and a challenge, right, to the audience. So, what is one thing that you can take from our conversation today with Natasha that would help propel you forward if you take action on it, right? This podcast is really about giving you some nuggets that you can take action on, because that makes the time that you invested in listening, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or any of the 15 plus podcast platforms that we're on, worth the time that you took in listening to the episode. Take action to do something. Maybe you want to get a little bit of that, Airbnb, STR, short-term rental type thing in your portfolio. Maybe you're an investor out there who might need to work with an expert, someone like Natasha, to be able to help you design it the way you'd want. Maybe you're an agent who just wants to build that part of your business even more. You have customers who want to be investors in that world. Somebody like Natasha could be a great fit to be able to do that. Maybe you need to read some of the books that were brought up, or any of the things that we had talked about today. But do something. Take one action step, and it could be as simple as reaching out to Natasha just to have a conversation. But it has to start somewhere. So we are here to be able to add value to you, for agents all across the country. That's why we do what we do. So again, we will see you on the next episode of the Top Producers Nation podcast. And don't forget to check us out at topproducersnation.com, where you can see our online community, our courses, and all of our programs to help you become a top producer in your desired market. We'll see you on the next episode.